Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM show. Thanks for slowing your scroll, stopping by to take a look at us. We appreciate it. So, it's Friday. We made it. I'm going to go hang out this weekend with the missus, have some fun. What are you going to do? Let me know in the comments. It's interview day. I'm skipping around a little bit. Scott Ostrander was here a little while back. We did an interview with him. I'm going to run that clip in a minute. But before I do, let me set it up for you a little bit. If you watch the show, you're probably familiar with Nectar for the Gods. They make the nutrients, but you probably may know, they also make the soil. But what you may not know, if you're not here in Oregon, is they've been making it for years, but just here in this little area. And now they've felt it was important to get it out to the whole world, because if you're using this, it's a lot easier if you're using this. So I don't want to oversell it, but I think it's important. This is the interview with Scott. He's talking about it, so watch that, and I'll talk to you after. Come on. So a lot of y'all have had questions for Scott, and so we got Scott here. So some people, well, everyone, would prefer probably to use the Nectar soil with their Nectar for the Gods regimen, but you can't get it everywhere. So first of all, if they can't get it in their area, how can they get it in their area?
Right now, Sunlight Supply has the exclusive distribution rights for all of our potting mixes.
Uh-huh.
So any retail store out there, for the most part, can reach out to Sunlight Supply and make that connection happen. You just have to let your stores know that, hey, you know, Sunlight's carrying the soil, and we'd really be interested in it.
And they're like the monster on the block, the big guy. So
they're one of three.
So they'll know who Sunlight is when you go to your grow store.
If you own a grow shop and know who Sunlight is, you should close your grow shop and start an automotive center.
Okay. So let's say they say that, and the guy's like, screw you, I'm not getting that soil. They can't get your soil. Can you use, I mean, obviously you can use Nectar with other soils, but what are the things you're going to run into? What are the issues? How can you alleviate some of that?
Ask your store that you're shopping at, what's the next best-selling soil, what's in that soil, and kind of just look at the ingredients. I mean, You can use any soil with Nectar. You truly can. It just depends on what your base is and how you're going to start your feedings off to begin with. So, for instance, peat-based soils like your Pro Mix, your Sunshine 4 bales, your bulk baled soils that a lot of people like because it's economically sound. Sure. But you're dealing with a peat base right off the get-go, which I don't mind peat. Peat's great. But a lot of times peat, especially Canadian peat, is going to have a higher acidity level.
Okay.
Or a lower acidity level, if you will. More acids. So making sure you're doing slurry tests mid-veg, late veg, and mid-bloom to make sure that your pH hasn't drifted from the peat moss decaying or breaking down. Cocoa-based soils, any one of them is going to be fine. But ideally, you want to find out how the manufacturer processed their cocoa fiber, whether or not they washed it. And don't trust them just by saying, yeah, we washed it. What does that mean? How do you wash it? I mean, and then what are the parts per million of that soil? So a lot of times cocoa is, we chip it onto a conveyor belt, we mist it with a moisture bar. There's our washing, but the parts per million is still 1,200 parts per million.
It's not washed. It's not enough.
It's not extracting.
Well, I've seen what y'all do. You got them all out there laying out their water over them for
soaking them.
Yeah, soaking them.
And we do that until we get down below 50 parts per million of salt. So then we know we are buffered. We are desalinated.
So, obviously there could be some horrible soil that's got some sort of terrible thing to it, but for the most part what we're talking about is getting your pH and your parts per million straight.
Yeah, and slurry test right when you get it. I mean, ideally, and the tough part, when you first slurry test, I personally like to slurry test right off the get-go with any bag of soil. And then after about 2 weeks in, after a few waterings, you've gotten some feeds in, recheck your slurry, because a lot of times there'll be an initial charge that depletes immediately. So the fresh out of the bag slurry is not your end all. That's just what's coming out, how they bagged it. Ours goes way up with a high pH of 7. 2 waterings, you're at 6.5 because the limestone gets washed out. So, pretty much just look at the soil that you start with. There's a few out there that I really don't recommend. You'll have to figure that out because it's just slander here.
Yeah, I got you. So I guess that's why can't I just go out in my yard? I got plenty of dirt out there. What's the difference between a potting soil and a dirt? Just base quickly.
Level of clay.
Okay.
So, being in the Willamette Valley, we're really high clay soils.
Sure, yeah.
If you brought that indoors, put it in a container, it would become a solid brick really fast.
You're done, yeah.
So you need the organic matter that is, highly tillable organic matter like cocoa fiber, peat moss, rice hulls, things to keep that nice and loose and open.
Okay.
You could use it for the outdoor dirt. I mean, you could take outdoor soil, bring it in, but it just won't have aggression. Okay. Once you have a high level of clay, the absorption rate,
you're never going to get there. Okay. So I get my good soil. Can I reuse it? Not just outdoor, but even indoor. Those two things. Can I reuse my soil outdoor? Can I use it indoor? What do I need to do?
Oh, yeah. Recycle all your soils.
Okay.
We've worked with big farms on this where, they buy X amount of soil for their first run. They take all that out, put it in a pile, compost it for a full cycle while they get a whole nother batch of soil, run another crop. When that's done, they take the old soil, bring it back in because it's cooked, it's done its thing.
Okay.
Replanting that at like a 70% old to 30% new, and we can really start breaking down the soil costs by reusing and recycling soil. For indoor growers, what we recommend and what I do at home is, I don't have a giant space in my garage for all this, so I take 30-gallon Rubbermaid totes.
Uh-huh.
I take a few of my pots. I use this, the Smart Pot or the Geo Pot.
A cloth pot.
Cloth pot, fabric pot.
Yeah.
Dump those into my containers. I break them all up. I add a bunch of SLF. I put some hygrozyme in to eat the dead root mass.
Okay.
The SLF's in there to recharge the soil. I sprinkle some One Shot on top of that. I put the lid on and I let it cook for it's usually about 8 weeks.
So you don't have to do with that the precision 150 to 160 degrees composting.
No,
you can just kind of wing it.
I mean, if you go in there, the thing's like swelling in your then it's fermenting. Things are going awry. You're becoming anaerobic.
Okay.
Ideally get in there and just stick your hands in it every couple of weeks and feel it, smell it. To see, if it smells like death putrid poo, then probably wouldn't plant in it until you get it all aerated and aerobic.
And just getting through that process. It's not ready yet. It's like that, or if I messed up.
It's still breaking down and cooking down. And it's soil. You can fix any soil. It's just it's going to take time.
So my root ball, take part of it out or leave the whole thing
Ideally,
in there?
what I do is rip the whole plant up, shake it loose, and then whatever's left in there just becomes microbial food anyway.
Okay.
If you had a diseased plant, you had root aphids, any kind of stupid bugs or anything, then no, just, you should throw that outside in the compost bin where nature will kill those bugs. Okay. If you put that into a Rubbermaid tote with mold, mildew, bugs, and all that, then you're cooking a problem.
Okay, so healthy soil I can reuse indoor. Any soil I can reuse outdoor.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. All right. Okay, so that was fun, right? So that's the show for today. We got a lot going on next week, but I'll tell you about that next week. So I'm going to see you on the Monday show. Have a good weekend. Have some fun. Go do something fun. I love you. I'll see you Monday. For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, OCGFAM.com. The OCGFAM Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCGFAM Show. See you on Monday.